Thanks very much, Concorda. At the outset of my contribution, I want to pay tribute and thanks to all the staff and support workers of our nursing homes and community hospitals who have taken care of many of our elderly family members over these difficult and sometimes lonely times over the last year and throughout the pandemic. These were very difficult times for residents who were very isolated from their loved ones and family members. And the staff, it has to be said, they provided security, comfort, care to many of our family members. And I am glad that visiting has now been restored on a phased basis to those family members that we've missed so much. I welcome this bill, which has taken some time to come to fruition, which has been in the programme for government, indeed the last programme for government, and has been included in this programme for government. I have to say that from the start of the nursing home support scheme, or Fair Deal scheme as it's more widely known, that farmers and small businesses have raised concerns about the charge on their farm, the family business assets in this scheme. In fact, some compared it to the debt duties which were abolished decades ago. The reasons they were abolished was that the families, in order to pay the taxes, the family farm or small business often had to be sold, which left the younger member of the family without an income or a home. The fact is that the family farm or small family business is not used as a capital asset to transfer wealth from one generation to the next, but rather as a means to provide an income for hard work, often 365 days of the year. We must remember that according to the IFA, only 34% of family farms provide a viable income, and you know that's a fact. And there is recognition now in this bill to that particular point. Inheriting a farm is not a road to riches and wealth, but an invitation to work hard for many years to earn enough to provide for your family and the next generation. The need for such a scheme has come about mainly due to improvement in our health services, which has increased life expectancy for all our citizens. It is not long ago that average life expectancy in Ireland was in the mid to late 60s, and now life expectancy in Ireland is in the mid 80s. And for those born in Ireland today, their life expectancy is forecasted to be near 100 years of age. The Nursing Home Support Scheme, sometimes referred to as the Fair Deal scheme, is a scheme of financial support for people who need long-term nursing home care. Under the scheme, a person contributes towards the cost of care and the state pays the balance. The Fair Deal scheme represents a 1.4 billion investment by the state annually and benefits over 22,000 people. I'm proud to say that these changes, included in this bill, were adopted by the Fine Gael-led government in July 2018 on the proposal of my former colleague, the then Minister of State for Mental Health and Older People, Jim Daly, who stated at the time this move will remove a great deal of stress and worry from the affected families and allow them to plan for the future. It will allow them to continue to run the family business without the fear of losing it. I mentioned earlier that this has been quite some time in coming before this House. I understand that a review of the scheme was published in 2015 by the Fine Gael Labour Coalition, which recommended reviewing how productive assets are dealt with within the scheme. The process of reforming this scheme has taken over 7 years to change, and during that time, many families have endured extreme hardship in meeting these charges, often having to sell parts or all of their family farm or business that has been worked on by families for generations. So today I'm asking the Minister if she will consider setting up a hardship fund that would repay or not levy some of these charges, so that if they had to sell some of their farm or business assets to meet these charges in order to make these family farms or businesses more viable for the next generation. This bill addresses the possible funding and how charges are levied for nursing home care for farmers and their spouses, but there is another group that should be considered for special treatment at the heart of the scheme. I recently raised with the Minister some of the concerns of nurses regarding their pay and working conditions, including the Haddington Road Agreement and registration charges. No one in this country doubts that nurses were in the front line and carried out sterling work over the last year in the treatment of the pandemic, and they are at the very heart of the nursing home care system. There is general consensus among our citizens that nurses are undervalued and underpaid in our health system, and that they played a vital and crucial role in the treatment of many of our elderly citizens during the worst days of the pandemic. There is a belief that their Trojan efforts and contributions need to be recognised and rewarded. While I understand the complications and knock-on effects in giving a special pay award, but we might be able to look at the other factors in their pay and the conditions of employment. One of these might be if we were to examine the possibility of offering a special deal to nurses. I would love to think, in this particular bill, that we could introduce amendments at committee stage to provide for a special treatment package under the Nursing Home Support Scheme for nurses who have worked so hard during this pandemic. Possibly one proposal could be to look at the 3-year rule for charging. Possibly that could be changed to down to a 2-year charge for the first year, but this is only one method that could be applied, and possibly the Minister and her advisors could come up with some other working package that would recognise our nation's gratitude to all nurses who have worked on the front line over the course of this horrific pandemic. I support this bill, and I hope that the Minister and her advisors might take on board some of my suggestions and amendments at committee stage. Thank you.